Hello and welcome. This is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching.
I don't know what's going on with my computer. Hey, look at. We didn't catch any fish. We didn't catch a damn thing when. Oh, now the dogs aren't. God dang it. Hold on a second. Oh, the dog's already asleep, so it won't make any difference. Yeah, the river was like 4 feet too high. It was crazy. Normally you can walk down by the water and go fishing, but today it was like it just sucked. So I got one of the ones right, that the 2 new charges for Rex Heuermann. I got one of them correct. I thought it was going to be, hold on, who I thought they were going to make the new charges were going to be Jessica Taylor and Valerie Mack. I think Valerie Mack will be one that's added later. Hey, thanks, Alex. Yeah, you guys, we got to get going on this show because I did a show earlier and we didn't make it to halfway, so hey, you guys, if you can help out, that'd be great. We got to keep on trucking here. I don't know if this goes on to tomorrow though. I think YouTube ends at like 9 or something per day. I think they're East Coast or something. I don't know, but yesterday was shot. Yeah, I went fishing on the Willamette in between shows. Usually you catch smallmouth bass down there, but it was really, I don't know, it's just way too high. Thanks, Alex. Yep. What, do you live in Corvallis, Gigi? I used to fish at Kiger Island over there. Or Geiger. Is it Geiger Island or Kiger? Yeah, I can't remember now. Yeah. Anyways, I guess we'll just get started. Oh, we weren't going to eat the fish. Who said we were eating the fish, Lisa? Yeah, it's weird the assumptions people make, you know. Alright, anyways, I'm going to play this. There's a press conference on the Gilgo Beach. We'll do that one. Thanks, Jessica Schubach.
Coming and dealing with our logistical issues in the rain. We appreciate it. We're here today to announce additional charges in the case against the defendant Rex Heuermann. Obviously, at the onset, I will say these are just allegations.
I don't know, but I mean, this does go on for a while. I don't know if you guys are interested in listening to this whole thing, or we can just sort of you know, I mean, there might be some interesting stuff in it. I didn't get to listen to it.
The indictment has just been
It's an
filed.
hour long now.
This
We
is
know I
a
get killed
case,
in
court
the-
proceeding, and each and every one of these allegations.
But you guys know when I do the press conferences, I get absolutely creamed on the show. So I'm not really sure. Thanks, Jessica Schubach and Nurse Up.
Have got to be proven in court, and we certainly look forward to doing just that. Today, as you've just seen, the District Attorney's Office filed a superseding indictment charging the defendant with 2 additional murders. Those charges pertain to the 1993 murder of Sandra Costilla.
I don't think that's one that people talked about, was it? I've never heard Sandra Costilla ever mentioned in terms of Heuermann. There's a Castilla. I mean, there's actually someone with a similar name that already has been charged, but man, that's pretty wild.
And the 2003 murder of Jessica Taylor. So
Jessica Taylor is the one. Hold on, what year was that one?
As you've just seen, the District Attorney's Office filed a superseding indictment charging the defendant with 2 additional murders. Those charges pertain to the 1993 murder of Sandra Costilla and the 2003 murder of Jessica Taylor.
So 2003, so that's way before the other ones, too. So he was, you know, Rex Heuermann, I bet you, has killed 50 people or more. I bet there are so many more murders that this guy's done. Nope, we didn't catch anything. The water was way too high. It's like 4 feet higher than normal. It hasn't really been that sunny here. Today was 80, so we were like, oh yeah, and then we go over there and you couldn't even walk. Like normally where you walk, there was water. Which one's the new one? What do you mean the new? Yeah, so Sandra Costilla, or however you want to pronounce it. She is completely, like, just sort of a new name mentioned to me, anyways. I mean, I'm sure people have speculated because she was found on Long Island, but I did find I mean, like, if you're throwing this one in there, man, just think of all the other ones. The Suffolk County Police Homicide Squad, this is 1993, November 22nd, is investigating the death of an unidentified woman whose partially clothed body was discovered in the woods in North Sea Saturday. So let's see where North Sea is. Okay, well, so you're just right here in the same area. But look, way over here, he went further out. So you look at where Jessica Taylor was, right? And then she's over here. So we'll just put a pin somewhere. We don't really know. Yeah, Long Island. I mean, it's interesting. Have you guys ever heard this name mentioned with this before? All right. So somewhere in this area. So 2 hunters found the body about 12:40 p.m. They called Southampton police, who notified the homicide squad. Police said the body had been in the woods a few days and they suspect foul play. Police estimated that the woman was in her early 20s. The body was taken to the office of the Suffolk County medical examiner. Anyone having information? Yeah, who cares about that now? But so we got that. Then the next day, and this is all I could find back then, but we'll do another search here in a minute. The body of a partly clothed woman found in Southampton Woods Saturday has been identified as that of Sandra Costilla, 28, but police yesterday said they needed help finding her family and acquaintances to learn more about her. Police said Costilla, last known address was on Gates Avenue in Ridgewood, Queens. Let's see where that is. Gates Avenue, Brooklyn, I'm sure, right? Yeah, so just right over here. Or maybe it's different. Let's see, Queens, New York. Same spot. So somewhere around in here she lives. I'm sure we could probably. Well, let's see if she's on. She is 28 years old, so let's see if she's on Ben Verified. She's old enough. I mean, you know, was alive long enough. There's got to be a million people with that name now. And how old would she be now? 93, so 30 years, 59. Okay, 57, 59. She's not in there. Okay, so right here, Sandra. Hey, it's Lillian. What's going on? Hey, Ginger, how's it going? Jessica Schubach. Holly Miranda. Sirius Black. Pandora Spox. Not box, but Pandora Spox. Get it? Jessica Schubach. Toy Airy. Man, I haven't seen you in a million years. Yeah. Wow. So look at how all these are in the same area again. Like this is Rex Heuermann's playground right here. But also, you know, I mean, Barnes was seen over here. He went all over kind of in this area. I'm still wondering if that one, what was her name? There's another case. It was kind of like, yeah, Karen, no, wait, there was Karen Vergata here. But I think there was somebody else too. Maybe that was it though. I mean, he lived right next to where she was found. Thanks, Sirius Black. Oh, and thanks, Lillian. On PayPal, thank you. Very kind, very kind. It says, police said Castilla's last known address was on Gates Avenue in Ridgewood, Queens. Hold on. Ridgewood, New York. Okay, so that's kind of more over here. Is this? Okay, Gates. Does it keep going over here and then cuts up? There it goes. Cuts up. Oh, okay, here we go. So she's more over in this spot. Well, hold on. Where did Gates continue? So it went. Gates went over like this, and then it cuts up like this. Gates. All right. Alright, so probably more in this area. Is that Gates? Yeah. So that's gates right there. So more likely over here, since that's where Ridgewood is. All right. This has got to be a little bit more accurate. You know, we don't know 100%. But that information was about a year old, and people now living at that address said they didn't know her. Okay, so that was the last known address. I should have read the rest of the sentence. Till somebody who cares about her comes forward, that's what we're stuck with. I wonder if she was a sex worker, too. We don't have any recent address on her, nor do we have any information on where her family may be. We've obviously looking for somebody who knows of her more recently to tell us as a starting point who she was as a person. Gearset said Costilla, whose body was discovered in North Sea, was strangled and might have been raped. We don't know whether she was killed right there or someplace else and dumped there. Costilla has been arrested last year for jumping a subway turnstile, Gearsick said. Detectives matched her fingerprints with those found in police records. She also used Cutello as a last name, Cutello as a last name. Well, let's try to find that one on been verified. I don't know if that was like a... I don't know if it would be in there, but don't be shy, you guys. We got to try to reach the goal. Sandra, no. That's weird. Oh, I typed in that again. I guess. She also went by Cutello. No. Doesn't exist. And then I also found her name mentioned in this article in 2014 of this guy named man charged in 1990s murders. The arrest of a suspect in the killings of 2 prostitutes in the mid-90s is not believed connected to the unsolved homicides of people, including sex workers whose bodies is not believed, I'm not sure what that means, whose bodies have turned up near a beach highway in recent years. Okay, that's the Gilgo Beach. Authorities said Tuesday. There's no evidence or investigatory link between these murders, Suffolk County District Attorney Thomas Spada told the Associated Press. The manner in which these bodies were found is very unique and very different from the Gilgo crime scene. Authorities have yet to identify a suspect or suspects in the deaths of 8 women, a man, a child, whose remains were found along Ocean Beach Parkway. On Monday, police arrested John Bittrolff, 48, of Manorville, on 2 counts of second-degree murder. And then down, let's just get to this part down here, it says. He also said authorities are investigating whether Bittrolff may have been responsible for the death of a 3rd woman, 28-year-old Sandra Costilla. So they're wondering if he killed her, but you know. The body was found in a similar state to those of Tranghetti and McNamee. Costilla was found in the North Sea community of Southampton in December of 1993. Bittrolff is not charged in the Costilla case. Police and prosecutors issued a public appeal for information. So let's see if we can find her anywhere else. I'm going to do... let's see, 1994 to 2022, I'll just do. Oh, in New York. Well, there's her name is mentioned in 94, it looks like. 3 slay could be work of 1 killer. 2 of the victims. Oh, see, that Bittrolff was another serial killer, because this is back in 94, and he wasn't arrested until 2014. And actually, a third, Sandra, they're mentioning the same 3 again in connection. The women were white, shorter than 5'2". Wow, that's just like, I mean, did Rex Heuermann know this Bittrolff guy? I mean, honest to God. Because remember how Heuermann only likes the really small ones, too. This guy almost sounds like the same exact person. I bet you they looked at Bittrolff for the Gilgo Beach slayings. Guarantee it. Yeah, you know, at one time. I wouldn't be surprised at all. McNamee and Bainbridge, both of Suffolk, were killed by blunt force injury to the head. Costilla, who had no record of arrest for prostitution, was strangled. Police acting on an anonymous tip found McNamee's body January 20th in a wooded area in Shirley off exit 58. Costilla's body was found by a group of hunters November 20th in a wooded area of Southampton. She was described by police as a drifter. (2014). Here's 2006. Partially old murders are revisited. Was found in her Dick's Hick home in 1996. Sandra Costilla, 28, Ridgewood, Queens. Partially clothed body was found in the woods around North Sea. Let's see if there's anything else. 1996 here. Parents offer reward for capture of killer. There's McNamee and Beinlich again. And then the strangled nude body. See, they keep mentioning her and associated with those 2, but never associated them with the Gilgo Beach case. Pretty interesting. Man, I think this is sort of a shock to people, you know. I don't think people were aware of that. Pretty crazy. Anyways, let's get back to the press conference. But I don't mean to, you know, keep bringing it up, but you guys, I need your guys' support to continue on here. Seems like every single night it's just like a little bit harder, right? But I'm going to play this press conference now, and that's usually when it just goes.
Well, that's in addition to the previously charged murders of Maureen Brainerd Barnes, Melissa Barthelemy, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello, which occurred in 1997, 1999, June of 2010, and September of 2010, respectively. So my intention now, here today is to discuss those charges, discuss the contents of the bail letter, and then turn it over to you all for questions. But before I do that, before I discuss the indictment and the developments in the case, I want to thank our law enforcement partners, many of whom are here today. First and foremost, I want to thank the Suffolk County Police Department. My understanding is Commissioner Waring was unavailable today. I spoke with Rob, but he certainly brought a contingent of Suffolk County PD to represent his office. We have
What do you mean he injected himself into the case? Rosemary. What are you talking about? And it's Heuermann.
Deputy Police Commissioner Kevin Catalina. We have Chief of Detectives Darrell Simmons. We have Deputy Chief Stan Grodsky. And then we have the Commanding Officer of the Major Crimes Unit, which includes the Homicide Unit, Sean Barron. So we want to thank all of them for their partnership. We want to thank the Homicide Unit for their continued efforts in this case. We have the Suffolk County Sheriff's Office here. Again, spoke with Sheriff Toulon. He's traveling out of state, so he couldn't make it. But it's my understanding that Undersheriffs Steve Keyhouse and Keith Taylor are here. We certainly want to thank them for their assistance as well. With the New York State Police, we have Major Stephen Udise, as well as Lieutenant Ken Gine. Again, we thank them not only for their presence here today, but more importantly, for their partnership in this case. We have the FBI, Supervising Special Agent Don Ansbacher is here. I want to thank the FBI for their continued assistance in this case. And then I don't believe they're present, but we have we want to thank the United States Secret Service for their assistance in this case. We want to thank the Suffolk County Crime Lab. I know they're not here, but their work has been tireless and instrumental, and we are really very appreciative to them. I especially want to thank the K-9 units from the New York State Police, from the Suffolk County Police, and from the NYPD, who came out a couple of weeks ago, and in very difficult conditions, they really did a fabulous job helping us to search an area of interest to us, and they went above and beyond. So again, I want to thank them. I frequently neglect to thank my own team, so I'm going to take the opportunity to thank them. We have
there's Gloria Allred back here. What do you think? Gray Heuermann injected himself? I'm not sure what that even means. He got caught because he didn't inject himself anywhere. They just caught him. He knew the man and told police he was the murderer. No way. No, he didn't.
Chief Zacharis, we have, I want to thank them. I want to thank our ADAs, many of whom are working on this case. You heard from Nick Santamartino. We've got Larry Opizzo, we got Andrew Lee, we got Michelle Haddad. We've got a whole host of ADAs that have really been instrumental in us. Our investigators, our analysts, really fantastic work that they've done.
What do you mean the salsa, Rosemary? What are you talking about?
I want to thank the victims' families, many of whom are here today, not only on the new charges, but for the original Gilgo
wrapped in
4.
burlap bags.
And this is what this case is about. We don't ever forget that. This case is about the victims and their families, and hopefully providing them with that small measure of closure. And the families have been nothing short of incredible. The way that they continue to support their loved ones and each other is really inspiring to us, and really helps us to keep coming in and working this case as aggressively as we've been doing. This case is a true collaboration. Again, mentioning all of those partners, without the contribution of any one of those partners, our ability to do this case would have been severely compromised. So again, I know I mentioned a lot of names, I know I went through a lot of agencies, but I just don't do that because it's the polite thing to do. I do it because it's the right thing to do, because they've really helped us instrumentally and will continue to help us going forward. Now, I'll just, before I get into the individual murders, the two new charges, what I want to talk about is at the time of the initial arraignment of the three out of the four Gilgo 4, and then at the superseding arraignment on the charges pertaining to Maureen Brainerd Barnes, and the Gilgo 4 was completed. At that time, we said that we were going to continue to investigate this case, that the grand jury with regard to the Gilgo 4 is over, but the case continues. The criminal prosecution continues, but the investigation continues, and that investigation has been expanded. The investigation has been expanded both to the bodies that were found on Gilgo and beyond. That's what we said. And I think that has come to fruition today with these two new cases, or new charges.
Yeah, thanks, Ginger.
First off, with regard to Jessica Taylor, that her body was recovered on July 20.
Yeah, I thought maybe she meant Sachs, but everything else she said has been all over the place. So
26 in 2003 off of just west of Halsey Manor Road in Manorville. She was found on her back. She was decapitated, and her hands and arms were severed just below the elbows. Notably, a tattoo that she had been obliterated with a sharp object. 8 years later, her arms and skull were found on Ocean Parkway. Those remains were found on the same side of the road on the Ocean Parkway as the Gilgo 4. They were found less than a mile away from the remains of the Gilgo 4, and all of the 5 remains were located within 50 feet of the roadway. And I think you see that the graphic on page 5 of our bail document illustrates that. Jessica Taylor was last seen on July 19th in New York City. She was working as a sex worker. We know from from our investigation, from a number of financial records and other records, that the defendant, Rex Heuermann, was in New York City on July 19th. Jessica Taylor last spoke.
yeah, so part of her body, I mean, you can see it right here. Like, part of Jessica Taylor was found here, and then also part of Jessica Taylor was found right there. And these are exact spots because there was little chalk drawings on the ground.
To her mom on July 21st, and then less than that was about 8:41 p.m. Then less than 2 hours later, her phone call made its last outgoing call, and we heard no more from Jessica or from her phone. The family alerted law enforcement on July 25th when she failed to return to her home for her mom's birthday. And then shortly thereafter, on July 26th, Jessica's body was recovered. At that time, the Suffolk County PD did canvass. They spoke to witnesses, and the witnesses had observed the night before, about 13 hours prior to the 911 call, they saw a dark-colored pickup truck backed up in the vicinity of off of Halsey Manor Road, where Jessica's body was eventually recovered. Computer activity by the defendant, which we were able to access through our search warrants, indicated that 2 days later, on July 28th, he accessed a Newsday article with regard to information on the case and with regard to the police looking for information on the case. That search was erased, but we were able to recover it. 1 day later, on July 29th, notably, the defendant was seeking to purchase a new Chevy Avalanche truck, notwithstanding the fact that he already had a dark-colored Chevy Avalanche truck, which was only approximately 4 months old at the time. The Chevy Avalanche truck, which we've been discussing all along, is dark-colored. His internet search related to the acquisition of the same Chevy Avalanche truck, but this time in white or bright blue, bright colored truck, completely different from the dark colored truck that he'd been riding in. And once again, that purchase with regard to the new trucks that was attempted to be obliterated. We spoke, and Nick Santamartino did the bail application, so I don't want to repeat all that Nick said, but with regard to the hairs found in this case, Jessica Taylor was found laying atop a surgical drape. A male hair was found between the body and the drape. That was recovered back in 2003. In 2023, we brought that hair was brought to the mitochondrial testing lab for mitochondrial DNA analysis, and was able to the results of that was able to exclude 99.96% of the population, but not Rex Heuermann, the defendant. Then again, later in 2024, we brought to a second lab for nuclear DNA testing. And once again, the result was the defendant could not be excluded as the donor of that hair, and it's 1.837 times 10 to the 603rd power more likely that it came to, that it matched the defendant or someone matching the defendant's DNA profile than a member of the population at large. And that number, just so it's 1.837 times 10 to the 603rd power. So what you do is you take that 1.837 and you move that decimal point over 63 places and add zeros. That's the number. That number doesn't exist. It's so big. Among other things that we were able to establish with regard to the murder of Jessica Taylor was, once again, family travel. We were able to determine that at the time of the disappearance and death of Jessica Taylor, once again, the defendant's family was out of the state. They were staying at a resort known as Smuggler's Notch in Vermont. And we were able to corroborate that information through witness statements, photos, and phone and financial records. In addition, there was a hard drive that backed up to a Palm Pilot, which was the defendant's date book. And in that, and again, this is chronicled in the bail application, but in that date book, it's indicated that his wife is in Virginia at Smugs from July 20th through July 27th, and that's page 14 of the bail document. With regard to the 1993 discovery of Sandra Costilla, again, on November 20th, 1993, two individuals while hunting in that There's remains that are of particular significance in this case. One was a female hair that was recovered from the victim's right arm, and one was a male hair that was recovered from a tape lift of one of the shirts that the victim was wearing that was pushed above her head. In 2014, about 10 years ago, the two hairs plus another female hair, which were found on Costilla, were sent to an outside mitochondrial DNA lab for testing, and at that time, John Bittrolff was excluded as the donor of those three hairs.
There you go.
Those once the
See, that's so amazing that there's another serial killer that also liked the really small sex workers in the same area. I mean, what the hell? That's crazy.
The task force began investigating Gilgo and related cases. Those hairs were retested in 2023 and 2024 and compared with the defendant's known sample from the buccal swab that we obtained. Regarding that male hair, the mitochondrial DNA profile developed from that male hair on the victim Costilla, and the profile developed from the defendant's buccal swab are match.
Oh wow! So that that hair that they had all those years, they finally were able to, because now you can get a DNA profile from hair, just hair by itself without the follicle. You know, like you can actually just take hair. So they just got the comparison, and it was the one that was on Costilla. I mean, that's incredible. After all those years, matched him again. That was a murder that was never associated with the Gilgo Beach murders.
Specifically at a rate that would exclude 99.96% of the North American population, and defendant Heuermann therefore cannot be excluded as the contributor of that male hair on Costilla. In March of 2024, that same male hair or an extract therefrom was brought to the same outside lab for nuclear DNA testing.
Yeah, there we go.
And once again, the results came back, and which found it was 4.347 times 10 to the 332 power more likely to have come from a person.
So when they originally got it, they didn't have the technology. So it's got the mitochondria DNA, and it was like, okay, 99.97. Okay, but then in the last 3 or 4 years, they've been able to actually get a full DNA profile off of hair. And now, look at the number now.
Genetically identical to Rex Heuermann than from an unrelated individual. So that's 4.347, and then you move that decimal point over 332 times to get the odds. Again, an astronomically large number. Regarding the female hair, prior to with regard to the female hair, one of the female hairs that was recovered on Ms. Costilla, prior to Ms. Costilla's disappearance, the defendant had been living with a female individual at his home in Massapequa Park. The female individual lived with the defendant at his current residence through the summer and into the early fall of 1993, and vacated the premises approximately 2 months or so prior to Ms. Costilla's death in 1993. Once we got those two female hairs, once we knew of those two female hairs' existence, we went out and obtained a DNA profile, a buccal swab from this female. And that DNA profile that we obtained from the female's buccal swab, we sent it to the mitochondrial testing lab, and again, it was able to exclude.
This is Jessica Taylor right there.
99.98% of the North American population as the contributor of said hair, but it could not exclude the female who was living with Rex Heuermann. Again, we brought that same DNA and extract to the nuclear DNA testing.
It's also pretty weird. You have a Costello and a Costilla, you know, almost only like really only 2 letters are different.
And the female's hair was tested and compared with the female hair that was recovered on the victim Costilla, and it was found to be 4.578 times 10 to the 1040th power, more likely have come from a person genetically identical to the female witness who was living with Rex Heuermann in 1993, shortly before Ms. Costilla's death, than from an unrelated individual. Again, that's 4.578, and you move that decimal point over 1,040 places, and that's the number. There was an additional female hair that was recovered in 2014. That was recovered, that was compared to both the female living with Mr. Heuermann and the defendant, and we could not get a match on that, and that remains unidentified, that female hair. So we have those DNA results, and again, we were able to establish, similar to all the other cases, that at or around the time.
Thanks, Peter. There was a question up there. Do I think it's related to Shannon? I think it's Shannon Gilbert, right? I don't know. I don't know. Shannon, it's weird too, because she's a sex worker, and then she got ran into a marsh or something, and it wouldn't shock me either way, you know, in that case. I don't know what the hell was going on there, because there was people in the background talking, and she was getting paranoid, and I don't know, it was a really strange situation with her. I can't tell you, but I think, here's what I do think. If you look at the map over here, I think every single one of these are his. I just can't fathom that there are 2 serial killers were dumping bodies in the same spot. You've got Amber Costello, Melissa Bartholomew, Megan Waterman, and then there's an Asian male here, okay? I guarantee you that Asian male is one that he did. He even looked that up. So you have Amber Costello, Melissa Bartholomew, Megan Waterman, the Asian male, and then Jessica Taylor. Seems like I'm missing one. There was 4 here, I thought. Yeah. So and then the Asian male, and then Jessica Taylor, and then you just kind of go down a little bit more. Then there's Valerie Mack, which is weird, because was Valerie Mack also in parts, because they have her over here too. So that's kind of confusing. And if that's the case, then absolutely that's going to be connected. Every one of these. All right. So Asian male who was also dressed as a female. Jessica Taylor, that one we know is was related. Then we've got a toddler and a mother, and Valerie Mack here, and then Jane Doe number 6, and then then that's where Shannon Gilbert was over here, but I don't know if that's connected or not. Totally different scenario. But thanks, Peter. And thanks, Sandra Shirley.
Of Ms. Castilla's disappearance and murder, Rex Heuermann was living alone at the house in Massapequa Park and had unfettered access to the house, and no one else was living with him at the time. So now I want to discuss some of the newly discovered digital evidence in the case. Before I discuss that, I just wanted to clarify some of the things that we've been talking about in our earlier press conferences. You were asked I was asked specifically about smart devices and digital devices that were recovered from the home and business of the defendant in connection with this case. So I just want to catalog that for you so you get a sort of flavor of what it was. We've recovered 15 different types of cameras. We've recovered 27 computers. We've recovered 58 internal hard drives. We recovered 22 external hard drives or solid drives. We recovered 46 cell phones. We recovered 9 Wi-Fi routers, 44 SD micro cards, which are like jump routers, 17 tablets, 42 USB devices, 8 laptops, 50 hotel cards, 4 GPS devices, 11 music devices, 36 SIM cards, 33 miscellaneous items, and 647 CD floppy disks or VSH or miscellaneous tapes. Again, in the months subsequent to the arrest, we've been endeavoring through our own office and with the help of the Secret Service to analyze that massive amount of data. And analysis of those devices has revealed, certainly, that Heuermann had a significant collection of violent, bondage, and torture pornography, which was dating back to 1994, and that material was very similar to the condition that the 2 latest victims were left in. In addition to that, it is alleged that the pornographic images that were accessed by Heuermann are consistent with the crime scenes of both Sandra Costilla and Jessica Taylor. Now, as part of our processing of the electronic devices, the task force discovered a Microsoft Word document entitled HK 2002 through 2004. That was discovered on a laptop in unallocated space, meaning there was an attempt to erase that document, but as most forensic experts know, that even when a document is erased on a device, it is the user could no longer access that document, but forensic experts using particular software can retrieve it, and this document,
as long as it wasn't written over prior,
was retrieved in this case. It was a locally created draft, which means the document itself was created on the laptop. It wasn't downloaded from the internet. The document was modified. It was originally created in 2000 and it was overwritten a number of times and modified between 2001 and 2002. Now, as alleged in the bail application, the task force believes that this is a planning document, and it was utilized by Heuermann to methodically blueprint and plan out his kills with excruciating detail. We allege that this document evinces the defendant's intent in committing the charged crimes, that his intent was specific.
I mean, he was very, this is like the classic serial killer, isn't it? I mean, it's almost like Dexter, not in the good way, though. I mean, he's just, look at all this crap. The burner phones, all of the different devices and things where he's hiding information. I mean, it's really pretty astounding. I mean, so he did all of this in his goal to be a serial killer and kill as many people as possible.
Specifically to locate these victims, to hunt them down, and to bring them under his control and to kill them. His motivations, meticulous planning, and clear intent is obvious. His intent was nothing short but to murder these victims. And we allege that the methodology, that the exact method by which these murders were committed, in excruciating detail in that document, is in some cases identical to the methodology used to murder the 6 victims in this case. Now, I don't want to speak further on the document. I believe the document speaks for itself.
Yeah, what's he talking about? What's he talking about?
His motivations, meticulous planning, and clear intent is obvious. His intent was nothing short but to murder these victims. And we allege that the methodology, that the exact method by which these murders were committed, in excruciating detail in that document, is in some cases identical to the methodology used to murder the 6 victims in
What is he saying there? Almost like he's referring to a different one.
this case. Now,
or is he just saying that all 6 are identical?
I don't want to speak further on the document. I believe the document speaks for itself. So if anybody has any questions about the document,
Is that document out there, you guys? Does anybody have access to that where you can get it to me? Well, send it to me. Where is the document? I don't have it.
You're more than willing to answer them.
Here, let me go
But
check
before turning it over for questioning, I want to reiterate, right from the very beginning of this case,
if
from
it's out there,
the
well,
onset
get
of
it
the
to me
case,
then.
the first indictment, we said that the case was not over. We said we were going to continue to investigate the case of the Gilgo 4 and find more evidence.
It's out there, Gray.
We've done that. We've said that we were going to expand the investigation both on Gilgo and off, and to investigate new cases. We've done that, and that's resulted in the 2 new charges that you see here today. So that's what we've done. That's what we've continued to do. And, my office, along with our partners, are not going to stop. This case continues. So with that, I will turn it over for questions.
I had a question about...
We'll just go, if we go right to left.
about the plan.
I didn't see you down there.
So I'm just wondering, why is he not being charged with first-degree murder? Because of this web document that he had, planning murders on, why is it second degree, not first degree? Doesn't that premeditated? So
first degree, there are a number of different charging theories you could use for murder in the first degree. One of them is if you charge a murder within a specific period of time. I think it's 18 months. So if you look at, we have 3 murder 1 charges and 6 murder 2 charges. And if you look at the time of the deaths, Sandra Costilla, 93, Jessica Taylor, 2003, Maureen Brainerd Barnes, 2007, Melissa Bartholomew, 2009, Megan Wardeman, 2010, and Amber Costello, 2010. Those last 3, Bartholomew, Costello, and Wardeman, fit within that period of time. So we could charge murder 1. The other ones, unfortunately, fall outside, so we're unable to bring that charge with regard to those, the other...
Where are they, KK? If they made you sick, where are the documents? Everyone always pretends, oh yeah, I've got those. Yeah.
5. No, wait. The other 3 victims. So that's why it's different, just sort of the way New York State law is set up.
I wanted to ask about how this expands the search now, because now with this indictment, the earliest murder now changes to 1993, which gives it many more years than we had before. So how does this?
And I don't mean screenshots. I mean the PDF file.
Expanding this to find out of other victims that are possibly involved.
Well, I think first and foremost, it expands the information for the public and the media. It doesn't change anything for us. We were, I think in March of this year, we learned of this document. We had been investigating other things. So again, my confidence in saying that we were going to move off of the Gilgo 4 to the new bodies and off of Gilgo itself was based upon my knowledge of the investigation. So that's something that we've been doing for a while now. It's just sort of become publicly known.
How do you know something?
We have no information with regard to that.
Okay,
So
well,
just piggyback.
those look pretty
off of
interesting
that,
too,
so
truthfully.
The alleged murders happening between 93 and 2010. Just how alarming.
But seriously, guys, is there any chance we could get the super chats going on the channel tonight so we can try to get to a goal? I mean, it's just been every single day. It just is it's wild.
Is this sweeping timeline you're looking at?
Well, I think this whole case in general is alarming, and
where
I
is it,
think
KK?
it
I don't see
underscores that which we already knew, that we have an individual who we are alleging, and again, these are
Are you
allegations.
talking about the screenshots of like the lists and everything that he put out there? Those kind of things? Because that's all I see. I don't see any documents like full written. Well, send me the screenshots that aren't lists if you've got them, KK.
Meticulously planned and executed 6 separate murders. So that in and of itself speaks for itself.
And there are other victims named in the court documents. Are more charges on the way?
So we're going to continue. Again, we're going to continue to investigate, and we'll talk about whatever other investigation we're undergoing when and if we bring those charges.
And Mr. Tierney, in your document you mentioned word torture, bondage, violence. There's also a Stockholm syndrome. Is there any?
Where's the reporter that posted the
evidence to
screenshots?
reveal that
Truthfully.
perhaps Resch took these women or any of them captive in his home, attempted to brainwash them, put them under his.
Well, that's what that document contains.
All right, I'll just show what these ones are here. But guess not, you guys. This is crazy. So it says problem. These are things that he like wrote down, I guess. I don't know. Problems. DNA, tire marks, blood stains, fingerprints, cat litter, witness, trace source of supplies, foot shoe prints, photos, misleaders, police stop, truck stuck, if you get your truck stuck, fingerprints in gloves, plastic bags match to box, hair and fiber, supplies, booties, lye and acid, police scanner, rope, cord, saw, cutting tools, hair nets, photo film, burn can, foam drain cleaner, body wash wipes, tarps, drop cloths, medical gloves, bags, tape, large electric clips, ratcheted cargo strap, BS, something like Mill Road, dumpster site, small is good. Dumpster locations, I guess. Man, it's crazy. Pre-prep, vehicle, I don't know what that means. Something inspection, recon, locate, weather report, recon video camera, recon pick zone for video. So look for video cameras in the area. Set up stage, holding area, build a table, crossbar, hard point, post event, destroy file, change tires, burn gloves, dispose of pictures, have story set. Jesus, this guy's crazy. I mean, we already knew that, but here's one over here. Hey, thanks, Bullseye. First super on a live stream. Sound travels. Control the amount of air in and out to control the noise made. Get sleep before hunt. Too tired creates problems. Hit harder. Too many hits to take down. Consider a hit to the face or neck next time for takedown. I wonder if he was necrophilia type. More sleep and noise control equals more playtime. Jesus. Use push pins to hang drop clothes from ceiling, not tape. Use Heavy rope for neck. Light rope broke under stress of being tightened. Jesus. Yeah, what's this one? Hey, what's that? DNA, problems, DNA, photos, misleader. What's this over here? Something like something Megan, like Waterman? Small is good. Why did it say Megan there? Because there's a Megan Waterman. Supply is booties, lie. We already went through that. Let's see. Hold on. I went to Scribs. I didn't find it. Hold on. Oh, man. I was just at Scribs. I didn't see anything. I'm going to have to put off Baumeister. Sorry, guys. I thought I looked at this exact page a few minutes ago. Yeah, I just looked at this one. This is old, isn't it? Yeah, this is about Amber and all those guys. Yeah, this is the original document. Whoever just sent that to me. I have this one. This isn't the new one. I don't think. Here, let me do a search. No, it is in there. Huh. Okay, well, this is the document. That's weird. I actually found this on Scrib, but I passed up on it. I should have done a search for that name. All right, well, there it is. It's 37 pages long. And I have a Scribd account. Do I have to sign in or? Ah. I'll keep playing this.
And again, that speaks for itself. We'll make arguments with regard to that, and at the trial, the specific reference to Stockholm syndrome that pertains to a book, Mindhunter, by a former FBI profiler, John. What is his name? What? John Douglas, his name escaped me for a moment. And so we know there are specific page references to that book and stuff such as sexual substitution, torture, and also Stockholm syndrome. And our argument, it's our allegation that the defendant was referencing that Mindhunter book not to gain insight into his own behavior or to modify or change it, but rather to use it as a means of improving his methodology and avoid capture by the authorities.
Was that book done? Sir, what about Valerie Mack? I think she was found out at Vanderbilt instead of her wedding.
So you have, and if you go back
Valerie
to that
Mack,
document, they talk about DS or dump sites and Mill Road, Halsey Manor Road and Mill Road. It intersects with each other. So, and if you look at the method of the crime scene, very similar to Jessica Taylor. That's what we can say now. We'll continue to work the case, and if we're able to develop more information and get to the point where we can charge it, we'll talk about it. You had the real question.
I was wondering, you mentioned that book. Did Heuermann have that book in his?
So he references specific page numbers in the doc, or specific page numbers are represented in the document, which match up to a particular edition of the Mindhunter book. The Mindhunter book was not found in Heuermann's house, but there was another serial killer book written by John Douglas found in his house, and I think that's in the bail document.
I just think, obviously, we probably knew this already, but uncovering a lot of new details that we didn't know as far as dismemberment, that he was younger when he allegedly killed, that, of course, his document explosive. Just talk to me, looking at the bigger picture profile of a serial killer, what was investigators' your thoughts when you were uncovering these new sort of details that
We had no thoughts. You know, we look at the evidence and we follow the evidence. We know that criminals in general, people in general, their modus operandi change through the course of their life. You know, obviously there was no dismemberment with regard to the original Gilgo 4, but there is with regard to, unfortunately, Ms. Taylor. So, you know, it's just, and again, everyone says, you know, are you expanding the investigation? And, you know, we're doing it under the auspices of the Gilgo task force, but each new case that we look at, each new crime scene we look at it independent of everything, and then we make a determination, you know, where does that evidence leads us? Does it lead us to one particular suspect or another particular suspect? But we don't, you know, get a list and say, okay, you know, we're gonna automatically assume that certain people committed certain crimes. That's not the way to do it. That's not the way we do it. We look at and again, you know, in the bail document, you talk about, if you want to know, and this is from John Douglas's book that the document quotes, if you want to know who the painter is, look at the painting. And that is something that Douglas used to tell his investigators, and that pertains specifically to, if you want to know who committed the crime, look at the crime scene and the condition of the victim. And again, if you do that in this case, we would allege that the crime scene and the victims match very much with a lot of, first off, the document that we found, and also a lot of the defendant's internet activities and the bondage and torture type of pornography that he was interested and obsessively searching.
We know why, Rob.
Do you believe at this point that the murders were committed in his house? And could you also talk about the note he put in that document that was referenced in court?
I'm familiar with the note. I'm sorry, Grant.
There was, I thought the ADA talked about something about, he said, if you do certain things equals more playtime.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So you know, that is referenced. What is the specific quote was? More rest, more playtime. And so basically, what he's talking about is, well, what the allegation and what we would allege is the more rested, you know, the participants are, the more you can get done. And he also talks about the document also talks about crime scene, and if you're sleepy and spending too much time in a crime scene, or your lack of sleep, your chances of making mistakes increase. So again, there's a lot of evincing of intent in that document.
And what about where these murders took place? Any
So there's, you know, under you know, some of the considerations was in the document, it writes about tape not good, use push pins. And then once we received that document, we went back into the house and looking at the paneling in the downstairs basement area, we were able to look at it through infrared light. We were to establish a cordon-off area where adhesive had been placed. So we're going to make certain arguments with regard to that at the time of trial. We also found an area where there were push pins into the drop ceiling.
Did you make any specific references to victims
There's a T1, you know, a T1 and T2. We would argue that stands for Target 1 and Target 2. Target 1, it says Megan with a question mark, and Target 2.
It's funny, on every one of these cases, there was a hair recovered from him. Every one of them.
It says black, and then in parentheses unknown, I believe. You could look at the bail document. That pertains to specific victims. If you look at the timing of it, it wouldn't seem to pertain to Megan Waterman because it's too early in time. There's also a reference to phone numbers of potential victims. We've searched, and we block out our phone numbers. We kept that in the document because we've come to an impasse with regard to those phone numbers. So if any members of the public have information with regard to those phone numbers, we would certainly be receptive to receive that.
So Valerie Mack, her death was mentioned twice in this latest trial document. Is Reck officially a suspect in Valerie Mack's death?
I think that would be fair to say, yeah.
And is it Mill Road there? Are remains on family?
Yes.
Actually, what I meant to say was can't afford to, underneath Mark's comment, because as you can see, these late shows are just a catastrophe in terms of raising funds for the channel.
Yeah, Valerie Mack was. If you go down, you have Halsey Manor Road, and then Mill Road is like further, like as you said, away from the expressway, I believe, or the exit to the expressway. But in that same area, and Valerie Mack was a little bit further into the woods.
Ray, have you found any evidence at all about what he might have been up to in the last decade or so, or did he just stop in 2010? How many other missing persons cases or unsolved crimes do you now have to look at, given where you are?
So the quick answer to that, yes, we have. We're still developing that, and obviously, none of that is actionable. And with regard to the missing cases, we're looking at all of them.
So that right there on the screen, you guys, is the entire day, the previous show and this show, and we're still not at the goal yet. Not even close.
And so we're looking at
75 short so far, still on the YouTube side of it.
Them, not necessarily in the context of any particular defendant, including this one. We're looking at them, separate and apart as missing cases, and with the universe of information that we have, not only in this case but other cases, how can we work towards solving some of these cold cases?
That's 30 years of crime.
Yes.
Did the new search of North Sea uncover any evidence that has helped the case?
So I would say that it was, as I've said all along, it's a necessary investigative step. It's a huge area, and we felt that we needed to do that at some point in time. We wanted to do it before the summer, and the brush got real thick. So we didn't know logistically how we were going to do it. We knew it was going to be difficult, but you don't not do something because it's difficult. And again, fortunately, our partners in the New York State Police, the Suffolk County Police as always, and the NYPD, their canine units went out and they did a fantastic job. We have so much gratitude to them for helping us out, but no new bodies were found.
Jimmy, just following up on Greg's question, do you believe both the search going on in the basement with what you found in the manifesto, that the basement was a location where the crime could have been?
So again, it doesn't matter what I believe. It matters what we can prove. This is, a significant investigative step. This was a significant investigative finding, and we'll continue to develop those things. We'll get to you next. I'm sorry. Could you say that again? Whoever said what they said, could you say? Oh, sorry.
I just wondered, in the basement,
Yeah.
there was a new search. Were there any specific findings that could relate to actual blood, human remains of any kind?
Well, as we've said all along, if you look at the DNA evidence and the trace evidence that we've done, it doesn't happen overnight. So there's additional testing that we're undergoing. We just have to see the results of that. Well, we always see suspicious things, but in any case. But is it a stain of something benign, or is it an investigatively significant stain? Only our forensic scientists can tell that after a lot of work.
Share any of the trophies that you found from.
Well, we've in our bail letter, and we're pretty much constrained by our bail letter to what we can publicly disclose. We found other information, which will be disclosed at the time of trial. So we're not gonna get into it, and that's not to say they exist. We're just not going to get into it. We can't. Ethically, I'm really enjoying from talking about it.
Can you tell us when the document on the laptop was first discovered, and is that what prompted your research of the house?
Again, in any effective investigation, it's never just one thing. Certainly that was something that was significant and led us in among other things in that direction. That document, I believe, we recovered it in March 7th of this year. Fairly recently, and certainly given the sprawling history of this case. Go ahead.
You said he had a lot of images and videos of torture porn on his devices. Were any of them his own victims?
We saw no evidence of that.
Could you speak about his profile, like was one set of murders different from another set, and does that indicate that he was sort of changing his tactics over the years, or is this all consistent when you look at all the evidence so far?
Well, I think if you look at a macro view or a micro view, you know, these are, you know, young women tragically lost their lives and were murdered as a result of a person who meticulously planned their murders. You know, if you look at the earlier murders as opposed to the later murders, it does appear that there was some changes. You know, exactly what happened with regard to the Gilgo 4, we're foreclosed about knowing a lot of that stuff because they were skeletonized. Jessica and Sandra were more recently found, so we were able to glean more information from the crime scene. So, you know, I guess it just depends what your perspective is on with regard to all that.
Was the March 7th discovery of the Word document that caused the second search in the house?
Well, as I think I previously, it was a impetus, but you know, in any good investigation, you know, there's usually a number of different things that cause that. I would say it was a significant one, and it was also an impetus to go back out into those areas and search with the dogs. And Manorville and North Sea and every place else we went.
With different allegations that happened probably in 93, could open the possibility of other murders like Cairo and Becca or other people having killed?
So as we said, Cairo and Becca, her remains were found partially in Jones Beach and partially in I think by Atlantic Beach across from Blue Point on Fire Island. So you know, all those cases, every person who was tragically murdered in Suffolk County, they're in play.
Ray, can you say a quick word about
there you go.
how you bring this to trial? Are you going to, is there like a cutoff point where you're just going to try the 6, or you're just going to keep going and eventually put them on trial?
So we're not going to stop. We can't stop. We owe that to the victims. That's the least we can do. So we understand we have a court case.
Right. He just said every single person is in play. So all those people, remember at the very first time I told you guys, they go, well, they have 3 different murder charges, and I said every one of these is going to be his. People were like, I'm not sure, Gray. Now there's this other. Okay, really? 2 serial killers were randomly dumping bodies in the same exact spot? Come on.
We understand we'll go forward with that, but we're not going to stop. So however that works, however we need to do that, we're going to do it. We have a great team.
Hey, thank you. Let me see. Denise, thank you on PayPal there.
We have a great team of investigators. We have a great team of prosecutors, and you do what you have to do in this business. We will get it done. It's daunting. There's a lot, but we'll get it done.
Are you still going through those dozens of digital devices?
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's like just reading off just gives, and a lot of them are encrypted, so that when you have an encrypted device, that attempt to get in is ongoing. You're trying to crack the code, so to speak. So that's an ongoing effort. I'm not going to discuss. I'm not going to discuss that again because my speculation, my thoughts don't matter. What I can prove in court, speak through an indictment, I will talk about these 6 because, these are allegations at this point. We look forward to proving those allegations, but they are mere allegations at this point.
Has there been any attempts recently to talk to Rex or his lawyers and say, hey, look, can you just tell us who you killed?
So I am, he's represented by competent counsel. I cannot ethically reach out to the defendant, so I wouldn't, and even if I was inclined, I cannot. So we'll speak through his attorney, and there's in any case, there's always a dialogue between the defense and the prosecution.
I just brought that up. I guarantee you he's connected to the agent. Remember how he even did a search for like something about Asian something or other. I can't remember what the term was, but it meant like almost like a transgender, something like that. So let's see. Yeah, so if you look at the map again, as I said about 10 minutes ago, he's going to be connected to, you've got Megan Waterman right here. Let me get rid of these other measurement things. They're just kind of in the way. Measure. I was using them for a different purpose. Yeah, so you have like, there's measure 1. Yeah, get rid of that one. So Melissa Bartholomew, Maureen Brainerd Barnes, Megan Waterman, and then there's an Asian male just right there. And then Jessica Taylor's here. So you don't think that, like, here's Jessica Taylor, and these 3 are all related. And for some reason, the guy in the middle here isn't connected to those. Come on. And then you've got Valerie Mack, and then a toddler here. I'm still kind of confused about the toddler. And then, over here is Jessica Taylor, the other part of her body, and also looks like Valerie Mack's other part, I guess, unless I got that wrong. And then the new victim, Sandra Costilla, is right over here. That one was never associated with those, but it is now. And they thought it maybe another serial killer did it, but didn't. And the hair found with Costillo matched Rex Heuermann. They must have just been, oh my God, you guys. I mean, think how amazing that must have been.
Of topics are discussed on a daily basis, which should remain private between the parties.
Has any of the evidence that you found so far indicated that you might have another suspect to question, whether someone who lived with him or a family member or something, could be someone on your radar?
Well, they're all over the place. There's a whole bunch of victims here. There's, a bunch of them. But I think this Varga might be one too, because it was kind of by where he used to live. Now, remember, he used to live right here. Heuermann did in 1990, and then there's that other victim. Can't remember where she was located at. And then there's Peaches. Yeah.
If you look at the evidence in this case, and it points that the defendant acted alone, and then if you look at that planning document, that makes it even more apparent that the 6 charged cases were meticulously planned, and they were done at a time when the defendant knew he would have both access to the victims and other people would not be around.
Thank you.
Okay. I believe.
Yeah, forget it. Wait, does she want to talk?
One of the victims are going to speak, so we're going to give.
Oh, okay.
I'm Attorney Gloria.
I can't stand Gloria Allred. I think she's just a ambulance chasing wacko.
Answers.
I'd rather hear the other one.
When I think of her, I see her smile first, big and bright, lighting up her face, beaming through her beautiful eyes. Jess was somebody that I looked up to.
I just showed her
she was a
Valerie Mack
force, one of the strongest women that I know, with a heart of gold. She was, and still is, loved immeasurably. When her life was stolen, a light went out. She is forever missed. This year has been 21 years since she was taken from us, longer than the chance that she got to be alive. I can't express what this day means after waiting and hoping for answers. I'm incredibly grateful to the entire task force for the dedication and integrity that they have provided and put into this investigation. I have full faith that they will continue to provide answers for other victims and their families.
Whoops.
Sorry. All right.
Yeah, like Valerie Mack. I think Valerie Mack was somebody that was dismembered too. Yeah, it's ridiculous to like Gloria Allred. She's just an absolute pile of crap.
They will not be taking questions, but if you have a few for me, feel free to ask.
Can you spell Jasmine's name, please?
Pardon, I couldn't hear.
Can you just Jasmine spell her name, please?
Yes, Jasmine Robinson, Jasmine Robinson, ROB.
You just have to really know what she's all about instead of, oh, I like her because she always defends this one. You know, she only picks the really popular cases. You know what I mean? She's just like what the YouTubers. You never see her just cover some rando female or something. It's always something big.
INSON.
Ms. Allred, just their reaction, if you can, to...
Loved one, but...
That's about all I can handle of that. So here's the document that just came out. But it's okay to like some. Like some people like Nancy Grace, right? Like some people like her. Right. But most, normal people don't, though. That's the thing. Yeah. I mean, people that like sensationalism and stuff like that will. Let's see. That's where the rest, I think. Yeah, in that area, yeah. Right. Yeah, it looks like you typed that in. I mean, I don't really dislike Nancy Grace, other than the fact that, I don't like some of the way she's covered stuff. It's horrible. Okay? Totally sensationalized. Cases that didn't need it, on the wrong side of reality too, because it matched what everybody wanted to hear, just like she's doing in the Sebastian Rogers case. Try to attack the parents over and over and over again. Kanika Jenkins, she said, oh, something's fishy here. That's because she didn't know the case at all. In the Delphi case, she said the same thing about, oh man, I heard that's a person standing behind that fence there. See that right over there, that tree and everything. Right after you spend all this time trying to get that out of the public, she goes in and just makes it seem like it's real. And I hate that stuff. And hopefully you understand why somebody might not like that. Gloria Allred is an ambulance chaser for the really big cases. All she ever does is the big ones over and over and over again. And she even covers people that are not actually victims, and eventually it gets found out, and I just don't like her, I don't like her at all. I think she's fake. That's about all I can say. Okay, anyways, I've got that document here. Maybe we can just go find those. I mean, this is really like incredible, like really detailed stuff in here. I don't know if I'm going to take the time to go over it tonight, based on how we're doing in the chat yet again. So let's see what this one says. On about November 20th, 1993, two individuals, while hunting, this is just what we found in the newspaper, in a wooded area of the Southampton in the vicinity of 50 Old Fish Cove Road. Oh, there you go. Let's see how randomly close we were. Probably not at all, but here we go. Oh, wow. It's coming right on my pin. Oh, look at that, you guys. Woo! Man, that was a pretty good random pin placement there. Like, how far away is that? I was kind of looking at that as we were zooming in. A quarter mile away. Not too damn bad. So somewhere like in this area right here, let's say. So I'll give it one last attempt on the show. if you're out there and you can help support the Grant Hughes Investigates YouTube channel and put a comment in a super chat, we'll read it on the air, discuss it. If you have a question, that's kind of what they're for. Like Jim Lawn right there, who said, "Hey, hey, 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 who?" There you go. See? Just like that, Jim Lawn. Thank you very much. Anyways, it says North Sea, Suffolk County, New York. Discover the remains of Sandra Costilla, the victim, who had been 28 years old at the time, was lying on her back with her arms outstretched over her head with her uncovered legs spread apart. The victim's shirt had been pulled up over her torso, and that's so classic, and head, exposing the victim's breast. The victim had numerous sharp force injuries to inter alia, her face, torso, breasts, left thigh, and vaginal area. Man, what a psycho, man. Mr. Costilla was a native of Trinidad and Tobago, but had been living in New York prior to her disappearance and murder. During the course of the 1993 investigation, Ms. Costilla's body was examined by a forensic scientist with the SCCL, which led to the recovery of inter alia what is that? I don't even know what that means. It'll probably be something that I was like, oh, probably should have looked that up, but no, inter, yeah. Among other things, led to the recovery of, among other things, 3 hairs from the victim's remains. Okay, it just means among other things. Okay. Why not just say among other things? Victim's remains, 1 from the victim's right arm, hereafter female hair on Costilla. 1 from a tape lift of the striped shirt above the victim's head, hereafter male hair on Costilla. As well as 1 from a tape lift from a white shirt above victim's head. In 2014, this is that other guy that was looked into, you remember that? Well before the identification of Rex Heuermann, a suspect in Miss Costilla's murder, the hairs on Costilla were sent to Forensic Laboratory Number 2, which was able to develop unique mitochondrial DNA profiles for each of the hairs on Costilla. On or about August 1st, 2014, Forensic Laboratory Number 2 received an extract of John Bittrolff's buccal swab. And if you remember, if you were here earlier well, by the way, this is a list. Remember I did that show a while back where we went over all of the other potential victims like Janice Fulham, Tina Foglia, Cheryl Guide, Kelly Morrissey, Gwendolyn Lukes, Patricia Costello, another Costello, and then Valerie Cleveland, and Carmen Vargas. So those are all ones that we went over a while ago on, looks like August of 2023. Anyways, let's see. Yeah, a bit long. Let me go back to today's. Man, my public service announcements don't work at all anymore, you guys. I've noticed. It's just really disheartening. Yeah, so we looked at this one right here on, this is July 23rd, 2014, earlier in the show, and it says, there it is, Bittrolff. And he also said authorities were investigating whether Bittrolff may have been responsible for the death of a third woman, 28-year-old Sandra Costilla, whose body was found in a similar state to those of Trangedi and McNamee. So that's pretty interesting. right? What was the challenge, Ginger? Didn't see it. Nah, I don't think it would work. If I got put in jail right now, I'd stay there the rest of the show. Yeah, so in 2014, so this is the other person, right? So they took a buccal swab, subsequently compared it to mitochondrial DNA profiles that had been previously generated for each of the hairs on Costilla. At the conclusion of the analysis, forensic laboratory number 2 was able to exclude John Bittrolff and his maternal relatives as contributors of the hairs on Costilla. What would the challenge be? Right now we're at 179, and this is after 2 shows, etc. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, we know, Lillian. We know. Yeah, we already went over that. Recently, the Gilgo Homicide Task Force requested Forensic Laboratory Number 2 undergo forensic testing, specifically comparing mitochondrial DNA profiles for each of the hairs on Costilla, which had been developed back in 2014 prior to Heuermann emerging as a suspect in Miss Costilla's murder. 2 known samples provided by Gilgo Homicide Task Force. On or about, that would be interesting because they would have had a match to hairs already found in that case. They almost need to have like another system, kind of like CODIS, for things like that. Well, the goal is always 250 a day, That's just the minimum goal. We used to always get 300, and I'd give away 5 memberships, and it was really simple. Now it's an absolute struggle to, doing 2 shows, multiple, Thanks, little puppy paws. But, sign of the times, I guess. Sign of the times. Just hard coping with it since I'm working harder now. Even harder than before, which is on or about February 29, 2024, Forensic Laboratory Number 2, this is just a few months ago, issued a report concluding that the mitochondrial DNA profile developed from the male hair on Costilla and the profile developed from the defendant's buccal swab are the same person. I mean, think how amazing, think of the crazy moment that must have been. Like, you're not even, they just kind of randomly, they were just checking it. Oh, wow, look at this, and boom, just an absolute match with Costilla. Isn't that amazing? That's somebody that they weren't even remotely, thinking about, probably. Or, maybe they had it on their list, though, for a while. I don't know. It's hard to say. Prior to Miss Costilla's disappearance and murder, defendant Heuermann had been living with a female individual whose identity is known to law enforcement. So that was in like 1993. Wow, this is crazy. It's interesting to be able to read about this stuff. Thanks, little puppy paws. During the course of the investigation, the Gilgo Homicide Task Force was able to secure a buccal swab from witness 3, which was secured via her consent. On or about March 29, 2024, the Gilgo Homicide Task Force brought a DNA extract of witness 3's buccal swab to Forensic Laboratory Number 2 for further analysis. On or about May 8, 2024, Forensic Laboratory 2 issued a report concluding that the mitochondrial DNA profile developed from witness 3, who the hell's 3? The Gilgo Homicide Task Force was able to secure a buccal swab from witness 3. Oh, that's the one he lived with. Okay, yeah. And developed from female hair on Costilla, share common base at all compared. That's crazy. So even one of the women he lived with hair made it to the crime scene. So that just proves that theory when law enforcement says that, No, I don't, Rosemary. I don't understand anything that you're saying. You didn't write anything that was legible, so it was hard to, you know. Right. Yeah, he didn't interject himself. Specifically at a rate that would Yeah, so it proves the point where it says that something's always left at a crime scene and taken away from a crime scene. Let's see. While 99.98% of the North American population can be excluded as a contributor of the female hair on Costilla, witness 3, who had but no longer resided at target residence prior to Miss Costilla's disappearance and murder, cannot be excluded as a contributor. On March 8, 2024, the Gilgo Homicide Task Force brought a cutting of hairs of Costilla as well as a DNA extract of witness 3's buccal swab to Forensic Laboratory Number 1 for further independent analysis. On or about April 29, 2024, Forensic Laboratory Number 1 issued a report indicating its ability to develop a nuclear DNA profile for the male hair on Costilla. Forensic Laboratory Number 1 was then able to conduct a 1-to-1 autosomal nuclear DNA comparison between said profile developed from the male hair on Costilla to Rex Heuermann's SNP genotype file developed from his buccal swab, which resulted in the conclusion that the DNA profile generated from the male hair on Costilla, which was recovered from Miss Costilla's mutilated remains, is 4.347 times and then 10 to the 332nd power. I mean, that means there isn't even another planet or sun or anything out in the entire known universe that would have enough, you know, it just wouldn't work. That means you have 332 zeros at the end of it. Yeah, it's crazy, Lillian. Absolutely nuts. Forensic Laboratory was able to generate nuclear DNA profiles from not only the extract of witness 3's buccal swab, but also the female hair on Costilla. Forensic Laboratory Number 1 was then able to conduct a 1-to-1 autosomal nuclear DNA comparison between said profile developed from witness 3's buccal swab to the SNP genotype file developed from the female hair on Costilla, which resulted in the conclusion, oh my God, that the DNA profile generated from the female hair on Costilla is 4.578 times 10 to 1,040. That means you have to put 1,040 zeros after the, I mean, that's just ridiculous. More likely to have come from a person genetically identical to witness 3's SNP genotype file than from an unrelated individual. Based on the foregoing, it is significant that 2 forensic laboratories have now independently determined that male hair recovered from the mutilated remains of Sandra Costilla is substantially more likely to have, substantially is under, you know, that word isn't enough, from a person genetically identical to the defendant, blah, 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 blah. I mean, it's just absolutely him. And look at this thing right here. Victim Sandra Costilla, hair where it was found, tape lift, striped shirt above victim's head. Sandra Costilla, victim's right arm. Jessica Taylor on surgical drape underneath victim. Maureen Brainerd Barnes, and he probably didn't care about hair that much, you know. Buckle of belt restraining lower body on Barnes. Megan Waterman, outside head area. Megan Waterman, tape in the area of the head. Megan Waterman, bottom portion of burlap. Amber Costello tape in the area of the head. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. Now he's I don't know why he's trying to say he's not guilty. This is like so freaking obvious. How about let's do an odds comparison of his hair just randomly being at each one of these crime scenes and him having nothing to do with it. Let's see. Maybe I should do like a show in the kind of like the morning time tomorrow, just going over this whole thing. I mean, look at all this crap. Goes on and on and on and on and on and on down here. What do you guys think? Should I do that? Because I'm going to go to sleep now. So thank you to... Oh, Jesus. What's going on? That's so weird. So now you can... I don't know if you guys can see this, but look how small I made the chat text. I mean, how did I do that? Yeah, like somehow like a mouse is able to... Wait, hold on. No, minus. There we go. That's probably... That was crazy. I was just scrolling my mouse wheel and it did that. Alright, so thanks to Alex, Jessica Schubach, Nurse Up, Mark Willis, Sirius Black, Peter Bullseye, Michelle, Jim Lon, and Lil Puppy Paws. I guess we weren't able to get to the Baumeister. But Heuermann's going on right now, so it's a little bit more important. Or maybe I'll like tomorrow night if I don't know, man. It's brutal. And then also thank you to Lillian, Ginger, Sandra, and Denise on PayPal. Thank you guys. So I guess, you know, overall we kind of just squeaked by on a goal for the day, but, you know. It's 2 a.m. here in Nashville. Yeah, it's pretty late out there. All right, well, tomorrow let's just go over, how about we go over that document? I don't know, maybe that later portion of it where it starts going through stuff. We are from where the car case you covered. What do you mean? Got some logical insight? We are from, what does that mean? We are from. Thank you, Michelle. We are from the car case you covered. Car? Like... Matrice car? Or... I don't know what that means. We are from where the car case you covered. I don't know what that means. The kid in Michigan that died on the road. Oh, yeah, just from, I guess which one? Because there was 2 cases that were kind of similar. Just the one from a couple days ago, or I don't know what you mean. Super interested if it's Morgan. What does that mean? Marathon Road, Marathon Road. Where? Marathon Road where? Like, where are you talking about? What state? Oh, Morgan Carr. Okay, yeah. God, that's weird. His name just wasn't in my head at all. No, this is back in like May, right? Like a month or so ago. No wonder. I thought it was like 2 days ago, and my brain's like, what? I don't remember the circumstances on it now. Amy's Place. I totally remember that for some reason. Verbal exchange between Carr and someone at the bar. Oh, so this didn't happen on, I didn't cover this on May 4th. I just covered it the other day, right? It just feels like I just covered this, right? Yeah, let me look. Yeah, there it is. On June 1st, yeah. I didn't think it was a long time ago. Oh, that's right. That's right. He had like yeah, that's right. Okay, now I totally remember now. It was the one I was comparing to the Murdoch, that one case in the Murdoch case where that one, remember the one individual in the Murdoch case? Yeah, this is the one where somebody like stuck a board out. I mean, my opinion was he like stuck a board out the truck and it hit him in the liver and damaged him, and then he, you know, but we don't know. We don't know what the injury looked like or anything in that case. We have no idea. And wasn't he found like over here somewhere? No, that's right. That's right. We were looking at this and it's, here's where it was. Right. Okay. I was looking at the wrong angle. If I saw it like this, north-south oriented, I would have immediately remembered it. Yeah, like he was walking around. Remember, we determined in this area right here is when, like, he must have been seen pretty close to, like, in this area here. And this is the route that he took. I originally had a route going around like that. Okay, yeah, now it's all popped back into my head. Thanks, Michelle, for... I was like, for a minute I thought, man, what the hell's going on here? But now I remember it. Yeah, so... Oh. All right, Zozo. Well, I was just about to leave, but thank you. So where do you live right around the area? What's the talk in the town there, Michelle? What's the local insight that you got? He was drunk, sitting on the edge of the road and got hit. Right, but I mean, what does the injury look like? Because they said it almost looks like nothing. He just has like internal injuries. So the family thinks he was just sitting there and got hit by somebody, and maybe they didn't even notice. Like, they didn't know what they did. You know, it's probably really dark out there. So this is where he lives. He never made it there. Ironically, Gray Road. But his body was found, that's right here on the road. Right in that area right there. I think it was a total accident. Oh, okay. Well, isn't that good? I mean, that's better, right, than it being something nefarious. So are they just saying they think it's a total accident so somebody comes forward, but there's really other information? Yeah, and it was weird too because here's the thing, the sheriff didn't say that, you guys. So what Michelle's typing in, that he was sitting down. The sheriff, remember what he said? Now everything's coming back. He said he was standing up. Or wasn't standing up, that's right. He said he wasn't standing up when he was hit. So you're saying he was, okay, now it does fit that. Like he's sitting on the ground and then something drove by and just hit him while he's sitting there. And he died. Yeah, that was a weird one, gotta admit. But doesn't it kind of remind you of the one in the Murdoch case? Yeah, Stephen Smith, right there, right? You guys remember this, right? Like Stephen Smith, his car was right there, and then he's found right on the road here, hit by a car or something. Yeah, not the boat crash. Stephen Smith. Yeah, it's very similar. Well, of course it should still be suspicious because it wasn't what they said it was. Yeah. Oh man, look at all the crap, those notes I took for that trial. These are where all the pings were. I mean, this guy, man, to try to pretend that he had nothing to do with it, just ridiculous. All right, anyways, thanks everybody. We'll see you guys later. All right. And thanks for being here. Thanks for the support to the channel. We'll see you guys tomorrow. All right. So thanks again. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. And a 1 and a 2 and a 3. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, plug rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like a little projector. Crime sector is my nectar. First degree's gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a bubble vector. Fool deflector, interceptor. I don't need a little spectre with a vector on his spectre. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temple fucking check, y'all. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody, talk to you later. All right, you guys, see you later.
Good night, Gray.
Good night, Mary Lou.